everyone, welcome to Scary Fan Party. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jim.
And this is where we talk about everything Scary Pool Party related. Back to your music, one of the questions that one of the fans asked was, what does performing your music and raps feel like for you?
I will say up until recently, maybe like 2017, I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to figure it out. And so I think the show with Alejandro where I played, he played keys during my set. That was the show that I figured it out, what it means. I'm trying to think. Up until 2017, I was just kind of performing it, trying to figure out performance. I don't have a manager for like a show manager or anything like that, or anyone that works on stage presence for me. I was just kind of up there. People liked the songs and I would perform the songs as best I could. I didn't really engage too often, but once that show with Alejandro, there was so much love in the room. It just clicked with me. And I don't know, it feels so good to perform now. I just like everyone having a good time. The whole point of my show is even if you don't like the music, you'll leave and know that you had a good time. Like everyone has a good time. You'll get laughs. You'll get to dance. There'll be participation. You'll feel like part of the show. So I love the show now. Now I can do a set where the whole bar will be watching the person before me. And then I get on stage and I don't always fit the aesthetic of the show. Sometimes it's very like underground hip hop or I just don't fit. But I know that my skill level is either on par with them, that they have to respect it. To where a room will empty out, they'll clear the stage when I start. And by the end of my set, I can have the whole area enjoying my set. I don't know. It feels good. I just like making people laugh, to be honest. And I figure out a way to do it in the show. It's not scripted. Anytime I say something in between songs or something like that, I literally am just in my head at that moment. It just comes out and I just say how I feel. So I just want everyone to have fun when they come to my show. It's not super serious or anything like that. It's just fun.
No, I thought that was an amazing answer. You know, this is more about just talking and getting to know you. One of the fan questions regarding Alejandro was, when was the first time you met and how did you meet?
The first time I met Alejandro was at the Wine Gallery. It's like a local bar that does craft beer, and they had an open mic. And I would just go to the open mics, not necessarily to perform, but just to scout and see if there were people that I would like to work with or just encourage people that, you know, maybe are going there. I walked in and I don't remember what he was playing, but he was on his piano. He had his piano set up and he was singing. And when I first walked in, I was like, oh, they're listening to music. Like, oh, that's cool. And then people stopped and clapped. And then I looked over and there was a person there singing and playing. And I thought it was a recording. So literally after his set, I just walked up to him and I remember telling him, like, you are amazing. Your voice is amazing. Your skill set and your just choice of how you put everything together is amazing. And I've never heard anything like that. Thank you. And I walked away. Like, that was the first time I met him. After that, we would start doing, I would keep going to open mics and he started coming to more and more open mics. And then eventually I performed and he said that he liked my music. I said I liked his music. We'd sit in the back. He'd have his coffee. I'd have a beer. And we would just chop it up about stuff, talk about video games. He's a big goofball. I'm a big goofball. So we clicked very well. And then I remember, like, there were times we'd do like 2 open mics in one night. And the guy, I don't know his name, but it would be at Metro Ale House. And this guy, I don't know why he didn't like me, but since he would see that I would come with Alejandro, he would put us on super late, like 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. And it got to the point where we just stopped going because it didn't make sense. And he would put all his friends first. And I remember telling Alejandro after we became friends, I remember telling him, if you are so talented that if you don't make it, out of all the people that I know, if you don't make it, nobody's going to make it. I remember saying that like so much and feeling that, being so adamant about that that if you don't make it, no one I know is going to make it. And what do you know? Like, no.
So you always knew that he was.
I knew since the first. I've never walked up to anyone and just poured out how amazing they are. Like, I never wanted to be like a person sitting there stroking someone's ego,
right?
And it's the wrong person. But if I truly believe it, like, I can't hold that back from you. You earned all of these words that I'm giving to you. And since then, it is what it is. But since I've known him, I would tell him, like, if you don't make it, I'm not going to make it. No one I know is going to make it. Like, you are so talented. And it's pure. It's not like some talent show kid. It's literally genuinely from this man's heart. It's the purest form, and it's beautiful to see it where it is now.
Like, unadulterated. You know what I think of? I think of the movie Twins, Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right? And Arnold Schwarzenegger grows up on this island, and he's insulated from like society and trends and all of that stuff, and he comes out and he's just got like this kind of bright glow in his eye and his own way of moving and talking and doing things. And that's one of the first comps I made with Alejandro. It's like, you think about how he grew up homeschooling, and he did some sneaking out and going to the shows he wanted to go to with his nephew and whatnot. All those factors made him who he is, and he hit the scene with something that was so non-derivative and so original that it would have been an injustice in the universe had he been not given credit for that talent, right?
I'm glad American Idol like pushed him to the next level. I don't have to go so hard anymore because like the whole world knows. Like, I tell people now, but I don't really tell people too much. Oh, this is my friend or anything. I just tell people like, oh, have you heard of this guy? Like, check him out. Like, he's super dope. I don't need to do that. Like, it doesn't benefit. But I still tell people, like, at my store, I'll play it and they'll be like, oh, is this the guy from American Idol? Or they'll be like, what are you listening to? And I'll be like, oh, check this out. Like, I stumbled upon him years ago and you know, but yeah, it's awesome, man. It's so beautiful to see. Like, I don't get to talk to him as much because I know he's super, super, super busy. But like, I hope he knows that. I know he knows that I'm proud of him. I tell him all the time, but like, just shoot for the stars, man. Like, keep going. Like, where you're at now is the very, 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 very tip of the iceberg. Like, there's so much more. You're going to evolve as an artist, as a person. Your sound's going to evolve, and I can't wait to see the evolution of Scary Pool Party. Like, I'm stoked for it.
That's right.
I'm stoked for it, and I've only been listening to him for 6 months. So, I mean, you know, it's like I've never been into music, and I've liked music. Like, I didn't dislike music, but I would listen to music. When I heard him, it was almost like it immediately turned on something inside me, and I finally got the connection that everybody else had to music. And I talk about that a lot because I'm not the person that runs the fan group or gets blown away. But I met Metallica and they were fine. Like, I was like, you know, you're good. I like your music, but I'm not like a fangirl. So when I heard him, it just turned something on. And I see that in a lot of people. They're like, I've never been in a fan group. Like, I don't even know why I'm here. And I really question my sanity. And I'm like, it's him. Like, he has this infectious light that just spreads to everybody that hears him and appreciates him. They have to appreciate him. And, you know, he's going through some kind of, there's people that want things from him and other people that want other things from him. But I think he will find his way. And I think that he is so authentic. And so he has such a great, transcendent has been used. I mean, I saw him, I heard him, and then I saw him in concert. It was totally different. It was like watching just pure energy, and it was good. It was all good. To me, it was all good.
That's great. I love it. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, Alejandro is like a tractor beam from, you know, and he draws people in. And something about the fan experience is that he keeps reminding us, you know, it's about the music. It ain't about me. It's about the music. And that's true. But people are naturally going to be fascinated about him because of the virtuosity of his music. And there's such a draw there that people are just going to engulf themselves in the entire experience, which he's included in. And so we've been kind of riding the highs and lows through the summer. Dewayne, I know you were at the 17th and 18th of July summer concerts. And, you know, it was some rough times. It was home crowd, all the people from Pomona talking about expectations.
Okay, I will say this. That definitely wasn't all home crowd. For sure, that was not home crowd. People, like, almost everyone that I talked to flew in from somewhere. Like, there was some hometown there, but hometown knows how to act. So, like, I was reading that a lot, and I was like, no, hometown knows how to act. So it was a lot of just like fans. Like, I get it because it was at hometown, but it wasn't like it was just Pomona there and we were like acting a fool. No, like we know how to act. So it was just a lot of fans, and it's early. It's like the beginning of him, you know, starting off, and that was his first home show. So I get it. People were excited. There's also alcohol and whatnot. Overall, Pomona, like, we know how to act. So I won't let my city take the blame for that one. But,
amen. I stand corrected. Hey, shout out Pomona. And shout out all the people.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shout out the people willing to fly in from Buenos Aires,
from
Texas.
Everywhere.
I met a girl in New York from Australia that flew in from Australia to see him in New York City. So
that is nuts.
Right? Like, that was crazy. And she would do it again. Like, she just really loves him. She loves his music. And she's like, you know, he's not going to come to Australia soon. So she had relatives in New York. So she had a place to stay. But yeah, like, I've met people all over the world that were at both Philly and New York. So it was special.
Awesome.
It's a special kind of, you know, thing. And I met people that were like, no, we just saw the guy on Idol. And they're like, you know, we don't really know what's been going on. I'm like, oh my gosh, let me just tell you. Let me tell you all the stuff that's going on for like an hour.
That's funny.
Well, I want to say thank you, Dewayne, for reminding us that this is just the very, 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 very tip of the iceberg. I think I missed about 3 berries in there, but that's true.
It's and just the beginning.
For all the fans out there that have had a wild ride through the summer concert, fall concert, and his adjustments, the singles that have come out, and his adjustments on social media and all that, there's so much excitement in the future. He hasn't even dropped an album yet. It's not coming out until the 22nd. Right?
Yeah.
This thing hasn't even started.
Singles. I listen. I'm not going to ever release these, but I play them in my car all the time. I have his originals, like, the original versions of like Tende and like Cholo Love, all the like singles. I have all the original versions, and I love those versions because they're not like mixed and mastered or anything. And I play them in my car, like casual. Since he's given them to me, I've had them for maybe like 2017 to 2016, maybe like 2016, 2015, like the originals. And I love them. I'm never gonna share them with anybody. If you're in my car, you can hear them. But other than that.
I got to tell you, my favorite thing that happened in the tour that I saw was when he didn't replace the battery in his guitar, I guess, and he played completely without amps or without a mic and just stood in the center of the stage and did 10 years. Dope. And it was just a moment. It was 1,500 people that were silent and just watching him. And it was like, what is going on right now? Like, it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah.
But who else can flip on Instagram Live, sit down on a chair with a guitar, and play something that is listenable over and over and over again? And he doesn't do them anymore, right? He did for several months. He was doing Instagram Lives and playing these acoustic songs he's been rolling around in his head. And I've been listening to these things solid for like 5 months. Yeah. And I love them, and I truly believe that those 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, when I go back and revisit this library, I'm going to go straight to those because they're so tight. I mean, so polished for someone who's just sitting down and playing stuff that he hasn't really worked out yet.
It's just an idea. That's what he says. It's an idea.
Yeah. His ideas they're grand ideas.
The big ideas.
I've seen it. I've just seen it, and I watch. And I just marvel at it. Like, I get to see some genius at work as far as musicality and just knowing music. I get like just sitting down and getting to watch it. When I would watch him, where we would just be sitting, messing around and stuff like that, I would sometimes lose myself in just watching because it was super tight. It was awesome to see. The biggest artist, I'm going to re-answer that question. The biggest artist I've ever worked with is Alejandro. That's the biggest artist I've ever worked with. There, just sorry to go back to that question. Noah is the biggest, like, now that I get to see on the regular, but overall is Alejandro. He's the biggest artist I've ever worked with.
And we love to hear that, right? So can you tell us about his, like, does he have a process when he's creating? Like, does he, like
the last time I sat down with him and just worked on stuff, it's on SoundCloud of us just in downtown chilling, him with his guitar, me with my laptop, and just coming up with stuff. But when he's playing, we would just sing it back and forth, and I could see him, I don't know, humming it in his head. Like, he could hum it in his head without saying it, and then when he says it, it makes sense. It takes me a while to process his process because his process is a little more complex than mine. But just I can't really talk you through it. I don't know he can only kind of talk you through his process, but he knows how to put. Let's say you have a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you flip all the pieces so that they're upside down and you can't see what they are. He's very good at putting those pieces together without seeing the picture on the other side, if that makes any sense.
Ooh, I like that.
He's just very good at visualizing the pieces. He doesn't need to see the picture. It's just the pieces.
So one thing Corey Jacobs said when we interviewed him, he was like, Alejandro, he breaks. Do you know who Corey Jacobs is?
Producer. He does his own arrangements.
Okay.
He worked with some pretty big names in the industry. He did a documentary for Allen Iverson. There's one name.
Oh, sick! I remember that. Okay.
I'm trying to remember who else he's worked with. Some big names.
Beyonce, he's worked with. But he said that, he's like, when I hear Alejandro, it feels to me like he is tapped into this stream of consciousness. He's tapped into that directly, and most of us get it second or third hand. But he gets that almost immediately from the source. So he is just tapped into this otherworldly type of inspiration. And I thought that was a great way to describe what I perceive to be his genius. I don't know. I mean, to me, there's no doubt that he's a genius. Like, to me, there is no doubt. But just being tapped into that, and when you said the puzzle pieces, it kind of like reminded me of that, because like being tapped into that stream of consciousness where he can just see the picture without putting it together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No? No? You're
Absolutely.
like...
No, it makes sense. It's just, like, it's hard to explain stuff like that, especially, I don't know the creative terminology. There's, like, certain ways that musicians put things together, and there's terminology for it that we don't really understand. So we try our best to explain something that we don't fully understand. It's hard.
It is.
I don't even that, as far as like talented musicians and people that compose and arrange, I'm not on that level to where sometimes people talk to me about it and I just have to ask questions. I'm like, I don't know what that means, and it's tough.
Well, I think the closer we get to trying to describe the access to that creative, that point of creation that the artists and musician, that all artists in the world try to make a connection with, it just gets more and more difficult to explain. It's more anomalous. It's like approaching the speed of light. Anomalies start to happen. We can't really get in there and define things anymore once we're really in that zone. It just is. It's its own thing.
It's like science and magic, like combining it together. Like you can't really explain it.
It just happens.
Yeah, there's no like scientific term for it. There's some stuff you just can't explain. It's like true magic, like stuff like that. I feel like you said that people can tap into that stream of creativity. That's like magic. I don't know if there's no scientific. I don't think there's a scientific term for tapping into someone's creativity. It's literally magic, and it's crazy. I love it.
Yeah. I love it too. I'm right there with you. And also with the extreme speechlessness. I mean, Jim can speak to this. I am not a speechless person. I can talk on a dime. And after I came out of that concert, I was speechless for 20 minutes? I was like, I don't even know what just happened. I literally just don't even know.
I'm speechless with how speechless you were.
Yes, exactly, right? Because you've seen me turn it on when I have to turn it on. I turn it on. Hey, Scary Pool Party fans, stay tuned for part 3 of this podcast.